Alright guys, so I was able to pick up two B580s, the Intel cards that just came out, and one of them is actually from my buddies, so I'm not trying to hog all the B580s, but yeah, I got the ASRock Steel Legend. This one's, I believe, a white-ish colored looking card, and then I got the cleverly named Sparkle card here, which is that blue one right there. So we'll unbox these and see how they run on the benchmarks. Alright, so here's a first look at the B580 ASRock card. You can see here it's got some nice feeling shroud here. It's pretty thick looking, so it feels pretty premium. The fans, I believe they have some RGB to them, and you can probably control them and whatnot with whatever software that's supposed to come with. Take a look around the back. It's got a nice pass-through here. It's a very common design nowadays, but it's proven to be efficient. Looking around the rear I/O, looks like you have your one single HDMI as well as the display out ports, and then it's got two PCIe 8 pins right here. I do not like that it's recessed, but I guess if you're sitting in a tight case where it's pretty narrow, that could certainly help with closing the door and whatnot. But sometimes a pain in the butt to connect these. But yeah, oh, and it looks like this has some sort of RGB action over here that says Steel Legend. So yeah, very nice. Let's install this in the test bench, and then we'll see how how the driver installs are. And it should be, from what I'm hearing, it's a pretty seamless process. So we're going to put this in this test bench right here. So what we have here is a 13600K from Intel, and that should pair nicely with like a B580. And then it's got DDR5, 64 gigabytes right there. And I have this in a Z790A Asus Prime motherboard here. So pretty nice. And then 1600 watts power supply, just in case, prepare for anything really. Like if I want to put 249s on here, that would probably be fairly adequate. But yeah, let's put this in and we'll go from there. Alright, so some first glimpses here of what it looks like in my test bench. You can see, yeah, the RGB is quite nice. It's very vibrant looking, looks pretty nice. And overall, it's a nice shade of white here, very clean. I like it. But right now, I'm just currently loading on the drivers, and this is actually my first Intel card, and it's been pretty easy. Very easy, just like installing NVIDIA drivers, so that's not too bad. I just DDU wiped the NVIDIA drivers off my test bench, and now I'm installing this right here. So we'll let that finish, and then we'll jump into some benchmarks here. So just talking about the card itself. Now this, I believe this cost me $270, so it's at a pretty good price point right now. I know a lot of the hubbub on YouTube right now is that it's priced quite competitively compared to some of the same range cards like a 4060 or probably like a 7700 XT. And then compared to the used market, 3070s, they're going for like $250, $300 on eBay right now. So I'm going to compare a 3070 to this to see what's a better value proposition. But for the card itself, some specs here. What they call XE cores, they have 20 of them. Render slices 5, ray tracing units 20. Its graphics clock is 2670 megahertz. Its tops are 233, and its TDP is about 190 watts. So that's pretty comparable, I think, to the other cards in this generation, or this this tier, I guess, of powered cards. And its memory bandwidth is 456 gigabytes per second. So it's pretty much a line. So that's pretty good. And it's still currently finishing the drivers here, so we'll let that finish, and then we'll jump into the benchmarks. Alright, so we just fully rebooted here, and it looks like it loaded up the Intel graphics software suite here. So I'm just going to take a quick look through these. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You got your home, profiles, graphics. In here, there's a bunch of different features here like frame synchronization, FPS limiter, low latency mode, image sharpening, and adaptive tessellation here. So for purposes of just getting a feel for the card, we're just going to leave these all default. See what display does. Like it's just more, I guess, image adjustment here for some more refinement. And then performance, let's see what this is. Okay, so it's just a bunch of performance metrics for the card to see how it's doing. But yeah, let's mess around with this. Alright, so we currently have 1080p superposition running right here. I probably have to download a newer version of this, but it's currently not showing the B580 information on here. But when you're looking at the FPS counter there, it's about 170, so it's pretty much in line with like a 3070 as far as raw power goes here on superposition. But we'll let this run, and then we'll get a numerical quantification of what the score is going to be, and then we can compare it to a 3070 as well as the other B580 that I have. Alright, so finished here. It looks like you got a score of 22,268. Min FPS was 138.67, average 166.56, and the max was 204.08 frames per second. Jumping over here, didn't really get too hot at all. The maximum temp that the GPU saw was looks like 62 degrees Celsius, so not bad at all. Maximum power that it drew was 135. I'm sure if I actually messed around with this and overclocked it accordingly and maximized all the different inputs and whatnot, I'm sure we can get this a lot higher. But for the most part, it's pretty impressive for some out-of-the-box performance here. Alright, let's box this one up, and we'll get this ready for my buddy to pick up tomorrow. And now, let's mess around with that Sparkle one. Well, this is a unique GPU opening experience here, or unboxing. So I'm opening up the Sparkle card now, and I don't think I can say that I've ever opened up packaging like this. Kind of looks cheap from the get-go, but it's actually quite sturdy, and I'm guessing it does a pretty good job of protecting it. But before we look at the GPU, I don't know if I should be impressed or if I should laugh, but it comes with this GPU sag bracket, and of course it says Sparkle on there, but at the base it's an S. Very unique. It's very sleek actually, and it's got a nice like brushed metal feel to it. But let's take a look at the GPU itself. So it's a Sparkle card. It says Titan there on the other fan. It's pretty nice. Now, the overall color of this kind of reminds me of like Space Marines blue here, the Ultramarine. So I kind of like it. It looks pretty neat. Looking at the top over here, it's got a single 8-pin PCIe slot over here, and it's the other one that I just opened that has 2 8-pins, but this only has 1. So I guess it's easier, if you have a lower end power supply that only has like 1 8-pin, so that's pretty nice. So let's flip it around here. Looking around the back. Again, it's got this really nice brushed metal. I actually really like this a lot. And it's got that pass-through design here with its own metal slots, so that's pretty cool. And jumping around the rear I/O, it's got the standard. Let's see if I can get a better shot of it here. But it's got 3 display ports and 1 HDMI. So pretty standard, but yeah, overall this is a very premium feeling card for, you know, what it is. Definitely impressed now that I actually got my hands on it, but let's load this up in the test bench and we'll get it going. Alright, so we have the GPU here on the bench, and currently I have it running again on superposition. I know I probably overused this, but it's my go-to. Right now the fans, you know, it hasn't detected that it got hot enough to actually start turning, so it's currently sitting on standby mode. But as for the card itself, when it's got power applied to it, it has a nice subtle Intel Arc RGB over there. It's kind of flashing, but yeah, it's pretty nice. So I don't need to show this to you guys again, but we'll let this run and we'll take a look at what the score is. And it's pretty much running identical to what the ASRock card was doing, so we'll see what that score is. Alright, so just finished here, and it pretty much ran identical to what the ASRock card did, which was, I think, was like 22,000 and some change as well. So not too bad there. Temps wise, this one was a little bit cooler. It's probably because it has lower power outputs, maybe. I think the power was like 150 watts on the ASRock. This one maxed out at 137 watts, so it's a few degrees cooler. Yeah, it performed pretty nicely. So let's take this out and compare it to a... Alright, and now we're going to compare it to one of my bread and butter cards here, which is the RTX 3070. And we'll see how it does compared to... we'll see how it does. So let's let this run on 1440p in superposition here, and we'll compare the scores towards the end. Alright, this benchmark's almost done here, and we'll see how it does. It's running as expected. And we're running at 25,500 for 1080p medium here. So yeah, you guys saw it. We ran a 3070, we ran two B580s, and you know, right out the gates, you know, without you know, I'm sure the drivers are going to get better. We always hear that with the Intel cards, but I mean, this graphics card is only a week old here, and you know, was able to pretty much go toe to toe with a 3070. You know, value proposition wise, the Sparkle was $270 at Microcenter, and the ASRock was also $270. So, you know, you got to consider brand new for $270, something that could contend with a 3070, which is now what, almost you know, 4 years old right now. 3070 has 8 gigabytes of VRAM. The Intel card has 12. So, I mean, ultimately, I think it's a good contender in this performance range here, and should certainly, you know, offer some choices here aside from just a 3070 and a 3060 Ti, or, you know, looking at the AMD side, 6650 XT, or something newer like a 7700 XT. You know, I wish I had some AMD cards to compare to as well, but, you know, ultimately I think, you know, I'm pretty impressed with this. But yeah, I mean, very comparable. I like it, so I don't know, I'll probably keep one for myself, and you know, we'll go from there. But yeah, let me know what you guys think is better, 3070 or B580, and thanks for watching, guys. Catch you later.